Ahoy, this is David Perry with my continuing series of Zoom videos. I call it online TV, with friends, colleagues, and artists around the world talking about how we go from the great pause into the great return. And the person I'm going to speak to today, besides being a longtime friend, is literally one of the funniest people on earth. She's known as the, quote, oldest stand-up comedian in the world, and she has a new novel tearing up the internet. She has videos with millions of fans. She lives in London, originally from California. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Lynn Ruth Miller. Welcome to the show, Lynn Ruth.
My God, you make me blush. Thank you very much. I can't believe all those things are true about me. How are you, David?
I'm fine. How are you? You know, I was telling someone the other day that phrase, how are you, has taken on new significance since March in COVID. People really mean it when they ask. So how are you?
I am absolutely fine. I had the virus at the beginning. I had it at the beginning. It was very, very mild. And that's something that people have to get in their heads because everyone's terrified. If I get it, I'll die. That's not so. If you get it and you have some other condition, you're in trouble. But for a majority of the people, from what I can gather here, the majority of the people that get this virus, it's very mild. I would not have gone to the doctor with it. I knew I was sick because I couldn't taste anything. I also couldn't breathe. But I mean, I could breathe enough, so but it was impaired. My breathing was impaired. But, and my friend that I was with last night, she also had it. It's like when you get a heavy cold, except it isn't congestion. But the point is that fear, I think, is our biggest problem right now. Fear.
Well, I mean, I mean, without outing you, because you have been very out about your age, you are now 87, correct?
I'm 80. I'll be 87 in 6 weeks.
All right, sorry. Happy early birthday. And I mean, being in clearly what is one of the high risk age groups, you seem to have come out all well. I mean, certainly for 800,000 people around the world, it wasn't easy. I mean, it certainly isn't the flu. 800,000 people have died. I'm very glad that you weren't one of them.
Well, I'm sort of glad I wasn't. Also, I've got plans. I have a lot of things I want to do. I'm glad I wasn't one of them. But I think that those statistics also are deceptive in that many of those people in Britain, I only know in Britain, that many of the people that are accused of dying of COVID died of something else. And the number is terrifying. And one of the things, anybody that's listening to this will agree with me, one life lost is a life too many. But this is just terrifying. I think the whole world is in a sea change now, David. I think that everything is changing. I think that the George Floyd demonstrations, which were very deserved and very good, but I think they were the result not just of indignation, but of people being locked in and locked down. I did comedy on stage for the first time last Saturday, and it literally broke my heart because those people were so thirsty to laugh. It's been one bad news thing after another. And are you in California now? Yeah.
We're in California.
The fires?
The fire, you can see it in the air, you can smell it in the air. It's kind of a what else can happen to California in 2020?
That's just what I'm thinking. And here in Britain, that we're thinking, oh my God, now Brexit is going to be without a deal. They're not letting the children go to college because they messed up the grade system or something. And I'm thinking the same thing. What more can happen? But the thing that age has taught me is when things get this bad, they're gonna get better. Gonna get better. You just have to wait it out. And I'm so old, I've been waiting it out.
Well, let me tell you, you have been waiting it out. We've been in contact before during this COVID epidemic, this great pause, as I call it. You have maintained, may I say it, sanity and humor in a time and in a place when it must have been hard, because I know you're a hugger, Lynn Ruth. How hard was it for you to be locked down in London during all this time?
Oh, it was difficult. It was really difficult. I think I told you, I'm used to people, you know, I'm the cute little old lady, and I'm used to people hugging me and kissing me. All of a sudden, no human contact at all. And my remark is that the observation that I made is that touch is a human right. And you tell that to the UPS driver, it doesn't work. I'll tell you that. You're not getting that. You're like, I just told you a joke and you didn't get it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's the 9-hour time difference. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right past you. But the point is that it was really difficult for me not to have human contact. And I think of many older people that are not as adept with computers and with the internet as I am. I had plenty of human contact over the internet. So I did not feel isolated. And I take walks, and I was very careful. I'm in a Hasidic neighborhood, and the Hasidic neighborhood, this one, has the highest rate of cases of COVID-19 of any place in London, because they live together, 9, 10 people in one room. You know, and they have no concept of social isolation, of social distancing, none. It's amazing. Because Judaism is a social religion. They pray in groups of 10, and these people simply cannot get through their head that they're giving everybody the disease.
So how did a nice Irish Catholic girl like you end up in the Jewish neighborhood?
No, I know. But it's not like Judaism as I do it, a nice Irish Catholic girl. I'm converting. But the thing is that I walk down the street and these people just simply, you walk through crowds of these people, and I take my walk late at night, so with the idea that there's not going to be anyone there. And they're there. So what I've learned is that you're probably too young. You'll love hearing this. You're too young to remember the polio epidemic.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little too young for that.
Yeah, I know. All right. We were just as terrified because it meant if you got it, you may not have died of it, but you're going to be crippled if you got it. And there was no precautions. There was nothing. We didn't know what to do. And I think that the internet, as wonderful as it is for fighting the disease, is also creating so much terror. And I would like to talk about the cost of the measures that we have taken to control the virus. The cost is huge. The domestic violence is immense. Has the economy been messed up in California? Because here it's a mess.
Yeah, that's. I was waiting for the punchline for that. That has to be a joke.
Well, I already gave you the joke with the punchline. It was the UPS driver. You're not getting two.
Sorry, messed up is the nice way without using bad words of what the economy is.
I did it. I didn't say a single 4-letter word.
That's unusual for you.
It is. It's extremely unusual.
I know your act.
Yeah, I do. They advertise me for doing Zoom comedy. Now we're having comedy at 10 o'clock with the filthy comic Lynn Ruth Miller. Oh, filthy comedian. I never thought of myself that way. But I think that what we've done is we've engendered fear of each other. And you know, David, as well as I, that the one thing that is the most difficult for human beings is interpersonal relations. And we're making people afraid of each other. And this is terrifying to me because I don't know, I'm not sure what they could have done to ameliorate that. I'm just not sure, but I know that with polio, which was frightening, terrifying, we went about our lives as best we could. I think the personal hygiene is important, the washing your hands, the social distancing. I do not believe the masks are any good, but that's just me, because I'm sitting and breathing my own germs back and forth, and so I don't like it. But
you do it when you go outside. You do wear one when you go outside.
I do not wear a mask because I have emphysema and I can't breathe. However, it's almost universal here. The English are very good at obeying rules. They're really very good. Americans are not. So my question to you is what's happening to the economy there? Because here it's a mess.
Well, let's talk a little bit about something a little lighter. I mean, this is the most serious conversation I've ever had with Lynn Ruth Miller. I mean, so you were raised Jewish, correct?
Yes, yes.
And
Reform Jews.
Reform Jews. So
Remember
there's
the Reform Jews. You
there's a
walked into
joke in there.
you walked into a synagogue, one of our temples. It was like walking into a hospital. Yeah. And I think it was Sylvia Plotnick was, we don't have women, they separate women, but not in ours. And we had a choir. We had a choir, and Sylvia Plotnick was the lead soprano. Sylvia Plotnick, I still can't believe it. Yeah, was a lead soprano. So we were very secular Jews. But I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and you have to understand about the Midwest. I'm having you don't want a serious conversation about that. The Midwest is very conservative at its most liberal. They're lovely to you. They'll bring you a casserole. They'll take care of your children. They'll pet your puppy, but just don't you try to have an abortion. And if you come in late at night, you're shot.
Yeah. So, Lynn Ruth, after many years in California, you had your own show. You've written a book. You have a new book, The Last Laugh, which is
that's the wrong title. Getting the Last Laugh.
Getting the Last Laugh. All right. So I know for the last few months you've been wanting to get back on stage. Hopefully later this year, although probably more likely early 2021, you'll be back in the United States doing a tour from your mouth to God's ears. But right now, I want to go back to something you just talked about. Last Saturday, you did a stand-up routine. Where was it and what was it like?
Well, I actually have a clip of it. I'll send it to you. I'll do a WeTransfer because they filmed us this time. And it was, first place, I haven't been on stage for 5.5 months. And I was afraid, stand-up comedy is not just what you say, it's the rhythm of what you say. And people think stand-up comedy is set up, punch, but it isn't. It's set up, punch, laugh. That's that third thing. And when you do it online, you don't get the third thing. And it ruins the rhythm of the way you speak. And it also, that laughter fuels you. And I didn't realize how much, because my material is pre-written, I didn't realize how much I relate to the audience. But I relate to the audience a lot. If you watch the tape, I talk right to people. And I was in heaven. But I didn't do a lot of my regular set because I had forgotten it, because I hadn't done it. I did the new material about the lockdown. I was good with that. I talk about everybody. Well, you know this one. Everybody wears masks to protect them from the virus. I wear a mask so I can pass for 50. It's that kind of thing. But so I did that, and I talk about how now, because you have no place to go, your mourning extends and extends and extends. I did that, but I didn't get into much of my old material. And this is interesting too. I did 2 shows. So the early show, I was just the new material about the lockdown. But by the time I got on stage the second time, I was beginning to incorporate this stuff in it. And I know that if I can get back on stage again, that I will do more of my own, the comedy, the sure laughs, the what is it? The punchlines of whenever there is in my book, I talk about, you can actually read. I have techniques if a joke doesn't work. And I've written it all out in my book. A comedian should read the book because it tells you how to set up a tour, and it tells you what I do with a comedy set, why I put something in one place and not in another. A comedy is an art. So many young people think, oh, I can't get a job anywhere. Nobody likes me. I'm going to be a comedian. Well, it takes. Dad laughs at all my jokes. That isn't it.
Let me ask you a question. Have you watched, of course, the Netflix special that is wildly popular here? I binge watched both seasons, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I only saw the first one, and you need to understand, it doesn't happen that way. I was her generation. I made the brisket. I know it doesn't. One of the things that does happen, though, is you get a good place in the lineup because of who you are, because of who you know. It has very little, this industry has very little to do with talent. It has mostly to do with who you know and who can push you ahead in the line. But I have been trying. There was Mrs. Maisel up there talking. She was funny. God, she was funny. And she got an agent right away. Well, I've been trying to get an agent since I was started. And I started 16 and a half years ago. And the agents didn't tell me, but they told other people, why start with her? Because she's going to be dead by the time we make money from her.
Oh, but you know, what's that old line from Gypsy? You got to have a gimmick. And you are your gimmick. I mean, if Mrs. Maisel was still performing, it's you, the world's oldest stand-up comedian. You've made it a stick.
David, you see it. And in Sweden, that woman that booked me, she said, I don't get why everyone isn't booking you, because she got it. She said, because I'm the oldest stand-up comedian. Anybody older than I can't stand up. That's that is, yeah. And she thought, my God, that'll sell it. But people, especially in London, but worse in America, the important thing is to get bums on seats.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. And they don't, where I was a top secret in Covent Garden. And it's my place. They love me. And there's and he will not feature me. I get the lowest level, the 10-minute spot. He will not feature me, and he will not headline me. And he has seen me rip up that room. I walk on that stage and they start cheering.
Well, we're going to send this video to this guy in London. Is that where you performed last week in Covent Garden?
Yes.
All right, and tell me, I know your shtick, and you're being amazingly clean-mouthed for this.
I know, yeah.
It's great. I'm going to tell, so I'm going to, just so you know, two fellow friends of mine who live in London, author Lucinda Hawksley, great author. I interviewed her the other day. She's the great-great-great-granddaughter of Charles Dickens. And my dear friend, who I know you know, Armistead Maupin, author of Tales in the City.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to get, and Sir Ian McKellen. I'm going to get those three famous butts in seats.
Get him.
So my question is,
my book.
Yes, who are your audience? Who are the people whose bums were in seats last week watching you? And how did they react? Especially to the COVID material.
You will not believe this. My audience is, and I mean, it's 18 to 40. And everyone thinks her audience is 40 to 80. They don't catch on. They don't get the jokes, the double entendre. They don't get the jokes. What is the one? When I was a young chick of 79, I wasn't that impressed with myself. But now I'm so proud of everything I do. For example, this morning I woke up. Those are my jokes. And the young people love it. And the reason they love it, but I must say, they love it because they think, okay, I don't have to be like my grandma. I don't have to just sit and watch television all day or go on cruises all over the place. And I can reinvent myself. Yes, you can. And at the end of my book, I say that. I say, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? What are you going to do?
Yeah,
you're going to sit there, or you're going to invent yourself. You can.
So talk to me a little bit. Yeah, in our last few moments, talk to me about how you broke the internet with your video. How many gazillion views did you get, and what was
it? Oh, the Freeda video. It's a 6.2 million now, and they're starting to circulate it again.
So talk to me about it. What is it, and how did it come about?
Ever since I started this, people have always said to me, would you mind if we filmed you? And I would say, no, that's all right. And I was surprised with this one because they took more care than usual. They took a lot of footage for this 3 or 4 minute clip. And my friend Kate is the one, she's now my friend, followed me to a gig. It was a wonderful gig. I loved it. And she talked to me in my flat, and she interviewed me, and I'm good at answering questions. You know, you ask me a question and I talk an encyclopedia. That's yeah, I don't shut up. So she got a lot of material and she put it together, and I don't believe there's any video I've seen on Freeda that comes close to the amount of hits I've gotten, because I'm telling everyone there is no end. I'm telling everyone you've got a choice. I'm telling everyone you can decide how you want to age. There are loads of people that have had a killer life, and when they get to be 65, they think, I'm done. I'm just going to sit. That's fine. But I don't want to do that. And the thing I'm telling to all these young people is, you don't have to. You can if you want to. I think one of the biggest, the most ageist group of all are old people, because we buy into this. Oh, we can't, or oh, I shouldn't, or it's not appropriate for me. I'll never forget this one woman. Her name was Wanda, and this was in California. And she said, my daughter gets upset when I wear short skirts. And I said, you want to wear short skirts? Wear short skirts. It has, we are the most ageist group of all. We're ageist. We say, the more you do for me, David, the less I can do for myself. And what is it I always say? Now everybody would be happy to help me across the street, even when I don't want to go across the street. I'm getting more help than I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and we need to stand on our own 2 feet, but it's so much easier to let someone go do it for you, and that's a mistake.
we've only got a few minutes left. We've been speaking with Lynn Ruth Miller. She has survived polio, COVID, sexism, ageism, kind of Trumpism, Boris Johnsonism. You have done it all, stood on your own 2 feet in a microphone, in front of a microphone. Your new book, Getting the Last Laugh, is burning up sales. You've got 6 million views. In our last few moments, tell us what's next and leave us with a joke, a clean one, cleanish.
Clean one? Well, I can say that I'm trying to think of a clean joke. What's next is I'm going to go back to Australia in July. I was going to celebrate my 87th birthday in Kuala Lumpur, but I probably will have to celebrate my 88th. I'm going to write another book. I have an inspirational book coming out, but then I want to write another book about the influence of the media on ageism. I want to do that. I want to do a theater piece about about happy aging. Those are the things I want to do. And I'm trying to think of a joke that isn't, because my jokes are all, yes. And the joke is that aging actually can be very valuable if you use it right. It's worth money. I was having tea at a tea room, and I reached in my wallet to pay the waitress, and she said, "Oh, don't worry about it, honey. Just enjoy your biscuit. Shall I soak it for you?" And I thought, if it works here, it might work at the department store, but it didn't. And the judge gave me 6 months for shoplifting, but I appealed, and he reduced it to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you from live from London, the incomparable Lynn Ruth Miller. Lynn, it's a great pleasure. We're going to interview you again after another show. Thanks for speaking with us. This is David Perry. Ahoy.